So today we're speaking with Paul Springer from SpringCo in Cleveland, Ohio. SpringCo is one of the largest applicators of e-coat and powder coating in North America. Paul, I met you a couple years ago, but it's good to talk to you again, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah. It said this is your, you just mentioned to me a minute ago, that your 45th year in the finishing and coating industry. Does it seem like it's been that long? I bet you it has.
Yeah. It seemed like it's been that long. And when people start calling you a legend, it's time to get out.
That's true. That is true. Like I said, you guys are up there, humongous. I've been through your plant. I walked it with you. I got tired. I had to sit down halfway through. You kept walking. You're a fit man. You exercise every day, but you have a huge operation up there. How many square foot do you have now? That over 200,000, right?
In the electrocoating operation, powder coating, electrocoating, 250,000.
250,000. Wow.
And then I have 50,000 in a plating operation across the street.
Right. Wow. That's pretty huge there with that. I have to ask you, the last couple of years, how have you guys fared with the, sort of, I know you guys are heavy into automotive, but how have you been able to withstand all of that that's been going on?
COVID bagged us up both years. It was a combination, COVID and then the computer chip thing.
Gotcha.
Which is still going on, but it banged us up both years to the tune of about 25% of my sales. But this year is very good.
Gotcha.
We're back and running. We're running at the rate we were in 2019.
Wow, that was busy back then. Yeah, because you almost your e-coating and then you're e-coating some. A lot of it's wheels, rims. Some of your biggest customers are wheels, the rims, and those big 75, 80-pound rims. And I know you were telling me you powder coat them one day, they're shipped out. 24 hours later, they're probably being put on a truck somewhere for a consumer to buy. It was that fast. You had lots and lots of semis that were running in and out of your operation, but you all do a lot, mostly automotive, correct? Is that
automotive, truck? We do some stuff that's not automotive and truck, maybe 15%, but a truck is probably 40%, and automotive is the other 50. Right.
Yeah. So take me back, like I said, for people that may not know. Like I said, it was over close to 50 years. You before you started, I believe it was Lake Erie Metal Finishing was the original name of your company. I believe that's what it was, right? And then
Lake Erie Metal Coating.
Metal Coating, right? You worked 2 years for a supplier side, I believe it was, and I
was in the development. There was three of us. I was in the development. We developed Dacromet. Now, not the Dacromet that went to zinc metal on strip steel. That was developed pretty much before I got there. It was being commercialized, and it was a very successful commercial product. The Dacromet finish was meant for fasteners and stampings, so it was put on post-formed parts. So that's what I worked on and brought it to commercialization in the 2.5 years I was there. And met this individual who talked me into starting SpringCo.
Gotcha. Gotcha. I don't think people understand. You have a extensive chemistry background. As a matter of fact, you do have a PhD in chemistry from was it the Ohio State or?
I have a PhD in chemical engineering.
Chemical engineering. Gotcha.
I have a bachelor's in chemistry.
Right. Okay, great. And so he suggested you starting this line, and what was your initial thought when that?
That he was crazy.
To become a business owner and do all the stuff yourself, yeah, I guess it.
I had a pretty good job at Diamond Shamrock.
Right.
But he kept saying to me, we used to play tennis on Thursday nights. And afterwards we'd go get a hamburger. And every Thursday he'd say, You're not happy. And you won't be until you're working for yourself. And he talked me into it. Guy's name is George Kappas. His sons run his business. It's still in
Yes.
Erieview Metal Treating is still there.
Yes. Been there. Yes.
George died about 4 years ago. He was
Yeah.
89 years old,
Mm,
but he was the guy who talked me on his front porch in Pepper Pike, talked me into starting SpringCo.
gotcha. Great advice, and you took it and everything. How was it those first years? You kind of got a line and you started it,
Well,
and how was it?
it was up and down. Yeah, we bought an old paint line. Not it wasn't an old paint line. It was actually put in 1969. It was a George Cook line. It was George Cook makes nothing but very, very good paint lines.
Mm,
And
hmm.
National Cash Register, a pretty big outfit, bought it. And then within 2 or 3 years after they bought it, they started making cash registers out of plastic panels.
Ah, gotcha.
They no longer had the old brown cash registers, and I'm sure you've seen that they were outdated and they didn't need the paint line. It was closed. And so I went and bought it and brought it to Cleveland and put it together and started putting on Dacromet, Polyseal. The early days were a little difficult because metal finishing hadn't settled down yet. It would be a new coating every 6 months.
Hmm.
Every 6 months,
Right,
the automotive engineers wanted something else.
right,
They were sold Polyseal. They were sold this, that. There's all kinds of trade names, and they would change. And then in 1983, I went into Electrocoat pretty early, and it stabilized. Technology
right.
stabilized, and here I am, 9 years later, and still using Electrocoat.
Gotcha. Right. Yeah, I saw that, and then it's one of the largest ones I've ever seen, and then very extensive, powder coating and things like that. And I remember you told me, when you started this, you rolled snake eyes. You said it was good for you. It was a decision you're glad you made. I guess I know it was hard work to put that all together and go out on your own, but hard work will get you there, won't it? I guess.
It's worked out. Yep.
Yeah. Who were some of your, think about that, who were some of your, besides Mr. Kappas, who were some of your other mentors in the industry that kind of, that you got to know that really kind of maybe taught you a few things about, the coding and also running a business? And were there people that really stood out that,
Well, in the early days, do you remember Arrow Hall? Do you remember Roco?
yes, Rocco, yes,
Yeah, they were down
yes.
the street from me. They were down on 79th Street. Um, and
Hmm.
the guys that bought it from Arrow Hall, John Wiles, and he was the president,
Yes. His son, Eric
and
Wiles, who became, yeah,
Bill Sauce was the sales
Bill,
guy, and
Bill, yes.
then they had a financial guy, and so I was putting Polyseal on 1978, and
Right.
went down there. They used to help me out and do my salt spray testing because I wasn't big enough to have a cabinet. And so I went down and would get the parts, and I talked to Bill Sauce one day, and he gave me some advice.
Mm.
He looked at me and said, "Stop and smell the roses."
Meaning what?
I was a pretty hard charger.
Right. Okay.
In
Was that,
those days, I unloaded the trucks,
right.
titrated the tank, made sure the workers were hanging the parts,
Right.
made sure the shipping papers were made out. So
Right. He told you hit the brakes a little bit, huh?
he
And
said, "Stop and smell the roses." And he became a friend for a long time.
right. Yeah, it's great. One mention the employees and everything. You have a lot of employees that have been there with you for decades. I mean,
Long
20
time.
plus years, right?
Long
They
time.
don't leave, which is good. That says a lot about you as a manager and as an owner. Is that they enjoy working for you, and you give them really what's the secret to that, to keeping people and keeping them there for a long time?
Pay him a lot of money. Nah,
More than that, I'm sure.
you let them. Yeah, you let them run their own. I let them run their own thing. I only jump in case it's and they all know when to ask me anyway. I mean, I don't have to tell them. They know when they want. They feel the comfort of me making the decision. They bring that stuff to me, but
Right.
the other stuff they handle it. They decide. They do it, and people like that to give them the power and whatever to make decisions. So
Right.
And that's
Right.
probably the biggest secret, not the money. They can make the money anywhere. So
Right. And it's funny is that you still, I mean, you still come in, right? You kind of, you don't need to be there all day, but you come in to make sure things are, you tell people to ask you the questions while you're there. They've got an hour or so or 2 hours to get your questions to you. And that's about all it takes,
I
right?
mean,
That needs.
I'm either here in the morning or I'm here in the afternoon after lunch.
Right.
And of course, I'm in phone contact with them. But
Right.
sometimes not every day now. I mean, if they got an issue, they call me. But
Right.
yeah, I'm not here. I'm here maybe 10 hours a week. I've been doing that schedule for maybe 3 years,
Right.
4 years, something like that. But you know, my
Right.
managers have developed into not needing me. They don't need me.
Right.
You know, so I find other things to do with my life.
Right. Right. Well, I know you get up, exercise every day. You keep yourself fit. I know you, which probably is a little secret to that. But getting back to your career here, I mean, I guess when you look back over all these years, is this, I didn't know, when you were going to college and getting these degrees, did you want to be a business owner, or did you just want to, what was your real goals? And was
I,
this something
I
you wanted to do?
I didn't even know what a business owner did. I really know. I was on a path to I got a PhD and I went to work for a big chemical company. It just happened
Right.
to be the one that my father worked for 30 years, 32 years. And
Right.
I really wasn't going to go to work for them unless they had something that was interesting, that intrigued me. I had multiple offers from all the big outfits.
Mhm.
Union Carbide, Roman Haas, I go on and on. And they were all hiring me for research, development, that type of thing, lab or pilot work, pilot plant work. And so Diamond Shamrock said to me, because I'd known them for a long time, and they said to me, what would interest you? And we got this little thing out in Chardon, Ohio, some kind of coating for steel. I really don't know what it does. I think there's about 20 people that work there. And
Mhm.
I said, well, I'll go out and look at it. So I went out and looked at it, and that was. I said, okay. I went to work there. I mean, my office was in a house trailer. My
Was that
laboratory,
yeah.
I could come in some days in my laboratory where I worked on pilot coating of fasteners for General Motors and Ford. My pilot area was sometimes 50 degrees. Kind of hard to kind of hard to
Kind of hard to
conduct
work.
kind of hard to conduct stuff but that's what it was. And then they finally built a nice facility. My
Gotcha.
Just towards
Yeah.
the end, and then the big part of the company came by, tapped me on the shoulder. And if you ever want to go anywhere in the company, you're not going to go there out of metal coating division. There's only 30 people. I mean, Diamond Shamrock in those days employed 17,000.
Right.
So
Right. Well, yeah.
so I moved into a job promotion, all that stuff. Moved into it, and I hated every minute of it. Every minute I went to
Mm.
work, I didn't. It was boring. It was not exciting like working with the coating and going to automotive and all that stuff. You know, I that so this guy George Kappas said, "You're not happy." He knew me in those days when I worked for the
Right.
big part of the company. He says, "You're not happy." And so that's then he motivated me into getting a group of
Right.
investors and buying some equipment and starting to coat parts.
Right. Right. Yeah. So, it's funny thinking back. I mean, even it seems like the industry, the coating industry, with automotive and other industries that you all work with, it changes so much. I mean, how has it changed? Would you say maybe in the last 10 or 15 years, or has it changed much? I mean,
Not well. The only thing significant that's changed, because we're in electrocoating is a big part of what we do, is how over the 20-year period. I mean, the coating was designed, and people will tell you this. So I just ask them. I mean, it was designed to be a primer,
right. Right.
and it's amazing in the last 20 years how they've taken it to a final finish.
Right. Right.
So
Exactly.
you have to produce defect free parts
Free. Mm.
that was designed for a primer,
Mm.
and we do it every day. So
Right.
that's been a big change over the last about 20 years. Corrosion
Right.
standards, of course, they moved higher for a 10, 15-year period. salt spray. Now it's no longer salt spray. It's all cyclical corrosion.
Cyclical corrosion.
And those tests are son of a bitch to pass, man. They're
right.
tough.
They're hard.
They've moved to cyclical corrosion over the last 15 years. You never heard of it 15 years before, but you hear from it now.
right.
So the standards, the testing standards, which is really moved up, and the visual quality standards has really moved up. A lot.
Right. Yeah, that seems like it. Yeah, getting tighter with that. But like I said, you all meet those standards very well, exceed them a lot. You all have a very fine operation. You guys do a tremendous job, or else these major suppliers wouldn't be coming back to you every year and working with you. So with that, but anyway, like I said, I simply just wanted to take some time out and just kind of revisit your career a bit and let people who don't know your story. Like I said, it's been a long time in the same industry, same company. It's kind of a rarity for people to do that and to be sitting in the chair and calling the shots. It's been a long career, and I'm sure it's been a very joyous career for you in the coating industry.
Jerry Paul was here in 1979.
That's right. And I was there 40 years later.
Yes, you were.
Yes, you did. Wore me out, maybe walk through 11 acres. Is that what it is? 11 acres you've got there?
There's 11 acres in this complex.
Yeah, and that complex.
7 of it are under roof, something like that.
Yeah.
Gotcha. We're handling 100 trucks a day, 100 semis.
Really? Okay. Still, yeah. So business is very, very good for you. So congratulations on that.
Been running pretty good since January.
Yeah. Keep it up. Knock wood. There you go. All right.